Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's nighttime in Kugel's Castle, and nobody knows if the sun's going to rise again. That's how we live here. I'm Patrick Sutherland, and I welcome you to Kugel's Castle on the dying earth the end of time. Tonight will be my third broadcast. As I explained yesterday, I'm coming to you, broadcasting from the control pod cab of an alien device. Even now I'm operating it, although I kind of feel like the Wizard of Oz because I've got a little curtain behind me here and that shields out all the lighting and all the strange alien hieroglyphics and technicalities that do weird things to the eyes, eyeballs, and kind of disorient you. Maybe it's the time disturbance factor that's in effect. Anyway, I got a curtain surrounds me, so I'm kind of like the Wizard of Oz operating the controls, but nobody can see me, nobody can touch me. I'm billions of years ahead of you, and I'm making the machine perform some of its most astounding technical functions, though I doubt the Zell would approve of my actions at this time. So they brought this machine down. I told you they set it inside the ruins of an ancient castle on Earth, beside an orange sea and an olive green sea and an orange sky and a dwarf sun with mild air and no moon and no tides and no pounding oceans. They have their fleet tied up outside in the cove, protected by the walls, floating on the air. Huge ships, starships, and they set up pens inside the castle and their equipment. They set this machine up, which is really huge. Before I tell you about what it does, it's more than a computer, but it's less than sentient. And it's as big as a house. It's maybe 60, 80 feet wide, maybe 100 feet long, 30 feet high. On top, it's set up like a giant cargo ship. It's got a giant receiving box door that opens, and there's a pod-shaped cab on top that I'm sitting in right now that operates the whole thing. And I told you last night how they use it. They establish satellites in orbit that x-ray the planet and measure the areas and the stratifications of the areas they're interested in. They set up sites, and they have these floating dumpsters, these floating box cars bigger than a tandem trunk, as big as a truck, as big as rail cars that fly around the planet automatically and scoop up this matter and rock samples and ruin samples, and then they bring it back over the machine, and the receiving box doors open, and the dumpsters discharge this material directly into the machine itself. They've got it hooked to the old castle water supply. Apparently water is essential to life, and it draws a bunch of water, and the receiving box doors close, the dumpsters fly off, and then inside this cab the operator pushes a couple of buttons, which I have in front of me, and holographic images of what's been contained within the structure of the molecules of the substance that's been dumped into the building. And seeing what they are, they can be objects, they can be plants, they can be animals, up to and including human beings, and the percentage probability of a reproduction, a successful reproduction, is also displayed, and the operator makes his selections. Thereupon the machine presses another series of buttons, and the machine begins to power up. And that's when the resurrections begin. The machine certainly feels electronic because it starts powering up with a low, slow hum, like electric amplifiers being turned on, big ones, in series, one after another. And the humming grows more intense and develops into a thrumming that seems to be synchronized, phased, almost musical in its capacities, but it keeps getting higher and louder and stronger, and it builds and it builds. And it's very painful to the human ear. I don't know what the decibel levels are. I don't know what the effect of the vibes do to you, but they're certainly uncomfortable, to say the least. And it reaches a crescendo, and then suddenly it stops, and from inside the chamber you hear a lot of pops. The building seems to reverberate with pops like a giant microwave overcooking something. And then there's silence for a while, and the great receiving box doors on the side of the building and open towards the front gate, and the open part of the courtyard open, and drop to the ground, and a heavy, misty musty and smelly. And inside the chamber is open for the powerful fluorescent light cargo lights shine down on what appears to be heaps of steaming slag and sand, and the smell is almost overwhelming. And then you see the piles of sand begin to move and crawl, and then suddenly arms and legs emerge, and then people begin to stand up and crawl in all forms of dazed and confused states, and they're smelly and they're steamy, and then the eyes open and they look like statues, but then when the eyes open you see that they're not statues, they're living, breathing human beings. And I myself, that's how I got to be resurrected, folks. And now let me tell you this, as you recall, I told you I was born in 1951, that I was a baby boomer in the US of A, and that I lived into the 21st century, and I had an adventurous, hard, good, great life, and I died. And I don't remember going to heaven, and I don't remember going to hell. And I don't remember anything until I became aware of this, and the way I became aware of this is I was in a dream. I was dreaming, and it was a chaotic dream because everything was out of place, and I didn't know myself. I didn't know who I was. I didn't know what I was dreaming. I didn't know what things were. I could drive a car without knowing what a car was. I could make love to a woman and not know what making love was. And it was like the reverse of a high-speed motion picture running backwards when they show an explosion maybe, and you see everything coming apart, and then they run in reverse and everything goes back together again, and the object moves away. It was kind of like, I don't begin to confess to understand the quantum physics that are involved in the operation of this device and what it does, but it certainly is capable of tracking time backwards through this wormhole that is generating and that I'm communicating with, and it's certainly capable of viewing into the past, where I couldn't see these objects when the machine displays the content of what's contained in the cargo loads. And so somehow it extrapolated me backwards and several thousand other people, and that's how I became resurrected here on the earth at the end of time. And I called this place Kugel's Castle after Jack Vance's main character in one of his old books, although there's nothing here resembling Mr. Vance's works, as I said before. And so we were called. Was it a cloning? Was it a resurrection? I don't know. We do know that God didn't do it. The Zell did it. And they had come here looking for the super race. And it turned out to be us. And as you stagger from that slag and you feel that chill wind hit your skin, and after the suffocation of being in the slag, you feel the breath, that first breath of your lungs, and you're dazed and you're confused, and talon hands take hold of you, and then maybe you think that maybe you've arrived in the lower regions because you get your first look at the Zell. But you don't have much fight left in you. The next thing you know, you're in a line and they're marching you off to a pen like dazed cattle. And that's how the Zell called us back, and that's what this resurrection that I'm describing to you is about. And I'll tell you more in my next broadcast. This is Patrick Sutherland, broadcasting you from Kugel's Castle on the dying earth at the end of time. And I may be quite literally the last man, the last place, the last moment, with the last word. Look for my next broadcast. There's a lot more to tell.